We are, and I sat down, I met with the Danish ambassador this past week, I met with the Greenlandic ambassador, and I got to say the Danish ambassador, they were upset and they were offended, and they said Greenland is not for sale. And I laughed and I said, you know what, everything's for sale.
What's up, everybody? Major Retired Richard Ojeda here, and Ted Cruz is out here playing wannabe real estate mogul, pitching Greenland like it's some fixer-upper in a foreclosure sale. Everything is for sale, he tells Denmark's ambassador, like some shady used car salesman trying to close a deal on a lemon.
What I told Denmark is I said, ever since the presidents began talking about this, the Greenland independence movement has been growing in momentum, and if Greenland declares itself independent of you, Denmark gets nothing.
This isn't diplomacy. This is the GOP's new favorite game, selling off democracy, sovereignty, and common sense to the highest bidder. Then he pulls out the mobster routine. According to Cruz, Denmark better strike a deal now because Greenland's independence movement is growing. And if they don't take a deal, they'll get nothing.
Denmark would be a lot better having a major financial investment from America. For Greenland, there are roughly 50,000 Greenlanders living there right now. They're not living in wealth and abundance. If Greenland became an American territory, they would become American citizens. That is an incredibly valuable inducement.
This is classic right-wing hostage-taking, turning a long-standing movement into a Trump-branded shakedown. Greenland's independence push didn't start because Trump decided to shoot his mouth off about buying it. That movement has existed for decades. And the last thing they need is Ted Cruz, the human embodiment of political cowardice, using them as a prop in his sales pitch. And then there's the icing on the idiotic cake. Cruz thinks Greenlanders would love to be American citizens. He calls it an incredibly valuable inducement. Yeah. Oh, really? Like Puerto Rico? Like Guam? Like every other U.S. territory that's been left with second-class citizenship, stripped of full representation, and used as a political bargaining chip. Cruz frames Greenland like it's some poverty-stricken wasteland in need of America's saviors, when in reality they have universal health care, strong environmental protections, and a higher standard of living than half the red states Cruz represents. He's pushing an outdated colonizer narrative wrapped in a phony promise of American prosperity that never actually delivers.
Bill to rename Greenland has been introduced in the House as President Trump continues his efforts to buy what is currently a Danish-controlled island. Under the legislation drafted by a Republican congressman from Georgia, Earl Buddy Carter, the new name would be, and this is not Dr. Seuss, this is the bill, H.R. 1161, I think, if I read that right?
Yep.
Red, White, and Blueland. So Greenland would become Red, White, and Blueland. The Georgia lawmaker said America is back and bigger than ever, adding Trump has correctly identified the purchase of Greenland as a national security priority. Leaders of Greenland and Denmark, they say the island's not for sale.
But here's what Cruz won't tell you. This isn't about helping Greenland. This is about Arctic control. Greenland is sitting on one of the most valuable geopolitical positions in the world, controlling northern shipping routes that become even more critical as ice melts. And who else wants those routes? Putin. The same Putin that Trump has been bending over for since he failed casinos went belly up in the 1980s. This isn't just stupid. This is another MAGA plan that puts America last, handing more global leverage to Russia while pretending it's some patriotic play. And at the end of the day, Ted Cruz isn't making America stronger. He's just another GOP lapdog selling off democracy like a stolen Rolex in a back alley. And the only thing dumber than this plan is the fact that Texans keep sending this bootlicker back to Washington, D.C. The people who keep sending these morons back aren't just dumb. They're weapons-grade stupid. The GOP has finally reached the final stage of failure, where instead of fixing anything, they're just renaming things and calling it governing. Case in point, Representative Buddy Carter's bill to rename Greenland Red, White, and Blueland. No, this isn't a joke. It's actual sitting congressmen wasted time and taxpayer dollars on this. Does this fix a single real problem? Nope. But that's the point. They need their base distracted. And what better way than waving a big dung flag over something that doesn't even belong to them?
Georgia Congressman Buddy Carter gets in on the hot new trend of renaming places we don't own.
A bizarre bill has been introduced in Congress to allow the United States to acquire Greenland and rename it Red, White, and Blueland. The bill was presented by Republican lawmaker Earl Buddy Carter from Georgia.
It's the stupidest people. Our country is being run by the stupidest people.
And this isn't new. Donald Trump fought to rename the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. Now his cult is furious that the maps haven't caught up to their delusions. Tell me, how does that help anyone pay their rent? How does it lower gas prices? How does it keep people from going bankrupt over medical bills? It doesn't, but it keeps the MAGA mob foaming at the mouth over absolute nonsense while the real crooks rob them blind. This is what they do. They rebranded Project 2025 as Agenda 47 because even they knew it sounded bad once people actually read it. They renamed French fries to Freedom Fries, like that was a victory for America. It's all the same scam. Slap a new name on a disaster and pretend that it's progress. Meanwhile, their base eats it up like a bunch of brain-dead morons. These are the same people who think RFK Jr. is going to decalcify their pineal glands so they can have some kind of spiritual ascension. These are the clowns who refuse to call measles by its actual name. Instead, they call them freedom sores because they think it's some kind of rebellion against vaccines. That's the level of brain rot that we're currently dealing with. And it's not just renaming things. It's flooding social media with absolute BS to keep people distracted. Suddenly, there's an AI-generated crisis about an asteroid heading toward Earth in 7 years. Oh, and guess what? Elon Musk just happens to be the guy who can save us, right? Yeah, because the guy who can't even build a Cybertruck without it falling apart on stage is now our best hope for survival. This is the long con. Every time people start asking real questions about their wages, their health care, their economy, here comes another AI-powered distraction. Fake maps, fake Mars colonies, fake doomsday scenarios. Meanwhile, the billionaires get richer, and the people getting scammed don't even realize it. Instead of solving real problems, the GOP is fighting over fake ones. Instead of helping working Americans, they're renaming countries they don't own and rewriting maps to fit their delusions. And the worst part? Their base believes every single word of it. Meanwhile, billionaires like Musk are laughing all the way to the bank. He's selling them fake Mars colonies, broken down Cybertrucks, and now AI-generated asteroid panic to keep them distracted while he sucks up billions in taxpayer money. Pod Save America called it. We are dealing with the dumbest effing people imaginable. They're too busy fighting fake battles to notice that their own party is robbing them blind. And that's exactly how the GOP wants it. And it's pathetic. And that is an absolute fact. Sappers clear the way, airborne all the way.